Rocker Pat here. Alright guys, another day in the jungle. We're being invaded over here. Man, I got these little squirrely things crawling all over my floor, tearing up my oak trees out there. Hopefully they'll be passing on through pretty quick. They've done decimated a couple of trees already. Can't stop them all. Ain't gonna pay for the exterminator. But man, look at this little crazy dude. Alright guys, we're over here. We're rocking and rolling and rolling and rocking. And as you can see, we got the 54 back in the garage. So, I got the front end up underneath it. Some of the things I had to do was, I ended up having to get my tie rods hooked up. Had to cut 1.25 inches off the threads of the inner tie rod ends for the rack in order to get tow within an acceptable range. I still want to chop the outer tie rod ends a little bit, but I got to get the right tap to be able to retap the hole. I need to take about 3/4 inch off of that. That'll give me a good adjustment range and everything. But what I did do is I've got the shock towers, strut towers, or whatever we want to call them, in place. They're still just tacked in place. Everything else is bolted in where it needs to go, except for the shock absorbers and the springs. The springs and the shocks are not in the car right now, but the car is sitting at ride height. Well, I went over to my buddy's shop and I borrowed his caster camber gauge. And if we look real closely here, I've got over 2 degrees of negative camber on my front end right now, which is what I was looking to make sure I had plenty of. I haven't checked my caster yet, but I figure if I got 2 degrees of negative camber, and that's with the slides all the way on the inside, that's telling me I'm going to be able to get my caster when it's all said and done. Shouldn't be much of a problem. And that is on both sides. I actually got 2 of these gauges. I don't know if we'll be able to see this one, but somewhere right there is my bubble. And I've got, like I said, over 2 degrees of negative camber, which that's good. But what I will say, and how I've got this front end set up right now, is I replaced the shocks with a spacer that I made, the adjustable spacer that I made, so I can get the lower control arm straight across on level to the ground. But one of the things I'm going to say about this is that I just do not like how low this car is sitting. I mean, it's just way too low. And this is probably going to be the last time I ever buy anything that has, quote, a 2-inch drop spindle. I'm not happy with how low that's sitting. I'm not going for a lowrider. I was assuming that, and I guess I assumed wrong, that 2 inches drop was 2-inch drop for this car. But apparently 2-inch drop is 2-inch drop of a Mustang front end, which is going to sit lower than what this car was going to sit to factory ride height. So, called up the Helix people, and sometime next week I'll have another set of regular standard height spindles coming. Another $150 out of the pocket into theirs. Got a couple spindles I'm not going to use, but who knows, you know, that's... If you look around a lot of these old hot rod shops, you see a lot of stuff that ain't being used. This is the reason why. You don't ever know what you need till you buy it, and then it doesn't fit, and you gotta, you know, buy something else, I guess. I guess that's just a part of the game and everything. But I'm about to roll this thing outside. I'm not gonna weld that upper hat in place until I have the spindles that I want and the ride height the way I want it. And then hopefully all I got to do is, once I get those other spindles, I've got a set of turntables to go with those alignment bubble deals, and I'll set my caster and camber and make sure everything's where I want it with the adjustable shim or struts, whatever you want to call them. It's just solid. There's no spring. It's just like a piece of all thread that I put in there and made it where the lower shock mount goes in, so that I could get the ride height where I want. Because I'm probably not going to put the springs in this thing until I got the engine and everything on it, so that it's got the proper weight. It's one of the problems I got with the 39 is that you put the springs in and it's binding up the ball joints and everything. But anyway, I just wanted to give you all an update, let you know I got it kind of worked out. I think it's gonna get rocking and rolling pretty soon. And then we'll start fitting an engine in this thing and finishing up the brakes and all that kind of stuff. But y'all keep rocking and rolling and rolling and rocking, and I'll keep grinding it down. Talk to y'all next time.